So when did this tent go up?
Yeah, so this tent was established in early March, I think in like a March 8th or 10th. And as soon as it was started, we received on average, in a typical day in March, on average we receive about 1,000 refugees per day. And back in March, the weather was like a freezing cold. Sometimes we have frost on the ground, we have snowing. And so it was freezing, and people been telling us this is the only warm tent for the nights. And so we have like 8 heaters. Mm-hmm. And also we have a very high-powered heater on the ground. And we have like the airbag, airbag, sleeping equipment. And we've been giving out a lot of blankets and a sleeping bag to assist with the people. And this is the time that I feel like humanity should overcome everything. We need to be here.
Yes. No, I feel very much in the same way as well. Now, to return to China.
Yeah.
How many people are on your side or on our side in China?
You know, the dictatorship is always a minority, a tiny portion of the people who want to control the majority of the power and wealth without the consent. So there are only a tiny portion of the Chinese Communist Party member who we call them the Chinese Communist kleptocrats. And probably they're a very tiny portion. Most of the Chinese people within the Chinese Communist Party membership, they're not bad people, they're just in a bad situation. So I think at least there are at least 500 million people in China is openly on our side, and probably there are more people who are secretly supporting us, but they're quietly defecting. But it works in their best interest not to identify themselves in public, but we have more silent supporters within the Chinese Communist Party, especially within the high-ranking government official and the military leadership. And that's what scares the Chinese Communist Party to death, because they're not afraid of the Western, people, against the Chinese Communist Party. They're most afraid of the people, especially members within the Chinese Communist Party, to defect. Oh, thank you.
So in this case, this is the same situation as in Russia, of course, because this war is not really aimed at the Ukrainians, but rather against the Russians to show what will happen to them if they themselves try to overthrow the dictatorship. Mm-hmm. But you think that 50% of the adult population, 500 million is roughly 50%, isn't it? Roughly adult population.
Adult, yeah.
And is there anybody within the Chinese, so I don't know Chinese politics, but is there anybody within the leadership who could be more liberal-minded, who could want to overthrow to have a peaceful transition, as happened, for example, in the Soviet Union in 1990?
Yes, that's a great question, and that's what we hope for, that's what we're working on. And because we want the revolution to be peaceful, non-threatening, non-harming to the Chinese people. And so I think if you look at how the communism fell in the former Soviet Union, in the former Eastern Bloc, in the early 90s, it was peaceful, and so
in most places it was peaceful, not everywhere.
Most cases are peaceful, and so this one has always been peaceful, and there has never been any violence from the Chinese whistleblower movement against the dictatorship, because we believe the civil disobedience and people's awakening is the most powerful way to disintegrate the communism.
Yes.
Yeah.